Good afternoon, it's 4 p.m. Football first, and Southampton anchorman Oriol Romeu is adamant that Southampton are not worried about their poor form in the Premier League. The 26-year-old has, however, admitted that no one is happy in the St Mary's camp at the moment. The Saints have not won in 3 games and were held to a 2-2 draw against Newcastle yesterday, thanks to a Manolo Gabbiadini brace. The people of Southampton have shared their displeasure for the team's lacklustre start.
What do I think of them this season? Well, it's got to be disappointing, to be honest with you, after what we've done the past 3 seasons, to get a manager of his calibre and for us not even to turn up and perform. The squad that we've got on paper, we should be doing more. Sometimes you can't blame the manager, but I think at this point he's got to go. I think it was proved last season that obviously we couldn't score goals last season, we can't score goals this season.
Well, they've already had a problem scoring, but like yesterday's match, they were so slow in the first half, there was no urgency to them till they went a goal down, and even then it wasn't until the second half they really started to play.
Say reasonable start to the beginning of the season, considering you've got a new manager come in, and then you've got the not too sure whether Van Dijk's going to stay or not, so I suppose in a way it might have upset the dressing room a little bit, but I expect they'll all come together. I mean, good result yesterday, 2-2, which I predicted.
To be honest, they could do better. They've not gotten off to a great start. Hopefully it will pick up, but yeah, they're not very good to start the season.
Been alright.
It's confirmed that Gareth Southgate's England won't be among the top seeds for December's World Cup group stage draw. Germany and Brazil are just a couple of the tricky potential opponents at the group stages for the Three Lions. Stephen Davis's Northern Ireland will not be seeded for the World Cup playoffs. Rugby Now and Scarlet's captain Scott Williams is optimistic about their chances of making the knockout stages of the Rugby Union's European Champions Cup. They produced a spirited comeback and earning a bonus point in a 21-20 defeat to an impressive Toulon.
We've given the short turnaround because maybe people don't expect us to go through the group, but we're maybe the outside favourites to go through. I think we definitely got a good enough team. We showed that, after the first 25 minutes.
Tennis now, and Roger Federer says his last challenge in 2017 is to win tennis's World Tour finals in London. The 36-year-old says his schedule will be designed so that he reaches the O2 Arena in peak condition.
Paris, one of those tournaments, or both or none, before I go to London, because that's my priority right now. I want to really win the World Tour finals.
Finally, in boxing, and the potential bout between George Groves and Chris Eubank Jr. is making the rounds. Groves made the defence of his WBA super middleweight title after delivering a devastating blow to Jamie Cox in the 4th round of their quarter-final bout. Eubank confronted Groves after the fight to challenge him in January, and the buzz is certainly felt around the Southampton area. Max Clark has more.
It's a far cry from Groves having to pay Eubank Jr. to spar him. Now the pair will be in a big money fight that will be seen in January.
Next, it is Eubank Jr. versus George Groves. Chris, your verdict tonight?
It was a good fight. He did what he had to do to win. No cuts, not too many cuts and bruises, so it looks like we're on for January. I'm excited.
Groves' win on Saturday night sets him up for a semi-final bout with Chris Eubank in the World Boxing Super Series for the inaugural Muhammad Ali Trophy. Local boxing coach Steve Barnes doesn't believe that it's a super fight.
In all fairness, I think Eubank is like an engineered boxer. Not necessarily from birth, but he does everything right, really. I think he's the better aggressor, the more accurate boxer, and so, in my opinion, it would go his way without a doubt.
Queensberry National Light Middleweight Champion Kane Baker believes that the fight is good for boxing and that there might not be many better matchups out there.
It's a good British domestic fight. They're both well known. I mean, they're both world champions and they fought a good set of opponents. Yeah, 100% it is a super fight. I reckon Eubank's going to do it because I think Groves is a more back foot boxer, and obviously Eubank, he's a very come forward and busy fighter. He just likes to smother his opponent. So yeah, I think on that front, Eubank wins it.
Boxing journalist Declan Taylor believes that the fight's only being billed as a super fight because there's no other matchups in the division.
In terms of like profile in British boxing, from a boxing point of view, there's not really anyone bigger than Groves when you really look at what he's done. And then Eubank, obviously, since he was like 2, 3, 4-0, has had this allure about him just because of his name and what he does. If it's close or controversial in any way, the semi, they can't have a rematch until after the final contractually.
Will George Groves deliver on plans to finish his career as an undefeated champion? or will Chris Eubank win the fight to determine his own legacy? We will find out in January. Max Clark, Solent Sports News.
Terrific uppercut as well. This needs to be stopped. It needs to be stopped.
That's all from us. Be sure to follow us on our news pages at Solent Sports News on Twitter and Facebook. Have a good week.